Nick and Rick's Pizza. Rules for delivering to the Garbler. Written by TheGeckoWrangler. Found on the Ruleshorror subreddit. Hello, Daryl. From what we've heard, your delivery to Silas Branch went surprisingly well. Truth be told, we're rather amazed you managed not to thoroughly piss Silas off, given his irritable disposition. For that reason, we'll be sending you to Cribble Rock Run on another delivery presently, this time for a slightly higher risk customer. As always, we'll once again provide you with any information you would potentially need to know about the customer. We should warn you, however, that this next customer can be a bit repulsive. Customer name, The Garbler. Address, 1026 Tananaver Lane. Residence description, moderately sized, heavily dilapidated 2-story house. The roof has caved into the second floor entirely, while countless logs, rocks, telephone poles, bones, and pine branches have been integrated into and around the first floor structure, almost like a giant nest. Regular order, sardine pizza, uncooked, topped additionally with chicken bones and frozen mice. Customer description: The Garbler is a massive, almost incomprehensible amalgamation of dead animals. It is constantly adding new body parts to itself, while also removing the older ones as they become unusable. For this reason, the Garbler's appearance is always changing. At the time of writing, its body consists of 3 asymmetrically sized hooved left legs, 1 clawed right leg, and about 14 front limbs of various species, with numerous mismatched animal skins covering its body like a macabre quilt. Several of those front limbs have been irregularly extended through additional parts, with the longest measuring about 7 feet. Its head has about 19 rabbit ears, 4 beaks, 7 antlers, 32 eyes, 2 snouts, and 1 tusk, all scattered across an impossibly large skull. Its back is adorned with countless wings, limbs, claws, horns, and antlers, ending in a grotesque train of innumerable tails. The mouth contains so many teeth it won't properly close, and there appears to be multiple tongues within. The Garbler also carries a large, heavily stained burlap sack wherever it goes. Rules for delivery. 1. Before leaving for Cribble Rock Run, make sure you're completely covered in clothing from head to toe. None of your skin should be even slightly visible, and be certain it can't be easily made visible in any way. We also ask that you wear a set of tinted shades or goggles for this delivery. 2. Do not head for the neighborhood without taking a whistle from our supply room. Test it to make sure it works before leaving. There's a good chance you'll be needing it. 3. If the Garbler isn't home when you arrive, blow the whistle. Not long afterwards, you'll hear what sounds like multiple people and animals screaming at once. The Garbler will appear shortly afterwards. 4. You'll know the Garbler is close when you notice a horrible stench in the air, followed by a garbled combination of growls, bird calls, squeaks, and human voices in the distance. The only times it doesn't make this sound are when it's sleeping, excited, or hunting. 5. Once the Garbler has arrived, the first thing it will do is inspect and search you thoroughly. It'll sniff and look over you curiously, tugging and scratching at your clothing all the while. Remain calm and be certain it can't see you under your clothing. It never stops looking for new parts. 6. If the Garbler saw any part of you under the clothing, back away slowly and recover whatever the creature saw. With any luck, it didn't see anything it likes, and the delivery will proceed. 7. Whatever you do, do not let the Garbler see your eyes. It's relatively picky when it comes to picking parts, but it can never resist a pair of eyes. You'll be in serious trouble if the abomination sees yours. 8. Once the Garbler has lost interest in you, it'll motion at the pizza. Open the lid and place it on the ground. It will not pay for the pizza until it's had a chance to look it over. 9. After the Garbler has thoroughly inspected the pizza, it'll pay for the pie with a combination of paper bills, coins, jewelry, glasses, and metal tooth filings, pulling the items from its burlap sack. It's best not to think about how or where the Garbler got those items. 10. Use a plastic bag to collect the Garbler's payment. Along with any valuables it collects, the creature keeps countless body parts in that sack. Whatever payment you receive will be covered in blood and filth. 11. Turn around and leave the second the pizza's been paid for. There are certain things in this world you'll wish you could unsee after you've already seen them. How the Garbler eats is one of them. Rules for getting away. 1. If the Garbler at any point decides you have a part that it wants, it'll voice its enthusiasm with a sound reminiscent of high-pitched giggling. This should go without saying, but run away immediately. 2. The beast's misshapen body makes it slow, so you should be able to get away initially. However, the creature is extremely persistent. It has a strong desire to collect new parts, and won't let you escape easily. 3. Do not run for your vehicle. While we wouldn't normally suggest running through Cribble Rock Run, getting in the car and starting the engine will take longer than you have time for, and while the Garbler isn't particularly fast, it's more than strong enough to flip your car. 4. Should you hear loud cracking and shaking behind you, prepare to dodge sharply to the side. The Garbler has found a suitable object to throw at you. There's a very good chance that object is a street lamp, and the creature's aim is surprisingly spot on. 5. Keep an eye out for roadkill as you run. If you manage to find any, make sure the Garbler sees it. The beast won't be able to resist stopping to examine the corpse. 6. If you hear the sound of multiple small objects hitting the ground, the Garbler apparently really wants you. It's shedding multiple parts to pick up speed. However, this might work to your advantage. If you can keep away long enough, it'll hastily turn around to recollect everything it dropped. 7. Should the Garbler catch you, it won't take long for it to start ripping off the features it likes most about you for itself. Before this happens, blow the whistle as close to the monster's ears as possible. Its many ears make it extremely sensitive to loud noises. The resulting pained thrashing will give you a chance to get away. Yelling loud might work too, but the whistle is most reliable. 8. If you manage to lose the Garbler and get back to your vehicle, immediately hide in the trunk. Even if your pursuer isn't nearby, you should not attempt to drive away until the beast is back in its house. There's a great chance it'll slam your car off the road as you attempt to leave. 9. Eventually, you'll probably hear several songbirds nearby, followed by a car driving down the road, or a group of people walking nearby, or possibly even someone from our restaurant calling your name. No matter what you hear, don't leave your hiding spot. If the Garbler's call wasn't a hint, the creature is an excellent mimic, more than capable of copying any sound it hears. It's highly skilled at creating ambient settings to lure potential victims. 10. Before giving up completely, it will check your car to make sure you aren't inside. Fortunately, it won't register your trunk as a possible hiding spot. When the beast doesn't find you, it will resume its chaotic call and reluctantly head back inside its home. 11. Do not leave the trunk until you can no longer hear the Garbler's call. Once the sound is gone, quickly get into the front seat and start the engine. 12. Be ready to floor the gas pedal once the engine starts. The Garbler will hear you escaping and won't hesitate to attack. You'll have just enough time to drive away before it's too late. That's about everything you need to know about the Garbler. We have no idea what it truly is or where it came from, And frankly, we are fine with not knowing. It's a miracle we haven't lost any delivery drivers to the creature yet, given how it's certainly responsible for several missing persons reports, among other things. The only reason we deliver to it is simply because of the sheer number of regulars we already have in the area. Combined with the value of the items it pays with, the risk is typically worth the reward. Of course, any and all interactions with that creature must be treated with extreme caution. 2 years ago, 15 hikers and backpackers disappeared in the national park near Cribble Rock Run. Nearly all of them were found on the side of the highway, alive but seriously injured. Each one of them was missing various body parts, ranging from ears and fingers to entire limbs. When asked what happened, they each described a similar scenario. They were walking through the woods when suddenly the air filled with countless bird calls. They then heard a loud crash, followed by a child frantically calling out for help. When they tried to find the child, however, everything changed. The birds and the child went silent and were replaced by a loud, frantic giggling and a nauseating stench. Next thing they knew, someone had knocked them out and dragged them to the highway they were found by. Apparently, half of them were actually awake when they were being dragged out, but none of them could give a description of the assailant. You see, there was one specific detail all the victims had in common. They were all missing their eyes. So please, if ever you suddenly hear bird calls followed by suspicious voices, or worse, smell a horrible decaying odor filling the air, run and never look back. The Garbler likes many things, but it could never resist a beautiful set of eyes. Sincerely, Rick and Nick Castillo.